It isn't the clatter of merchant carts or the calls of street vendors. At the center of this human storm, a woman stumbles forward, naked and bound in chains. Her body bears the marks of what has already been done to her, wounds fresh and weeping, filth covering her skin. The crowd presses closer, their faces twisted with something that looks like joy. Because what Rome did to women who challenged its authority wasn't just execution. But beneath that veneer of civilization, Rome had perfected an art form that modern historians have struggled to even write about. What you're about to discover isn't just about ancient history. The woman in the streets isn't being killed quickly. That would defeat the entire purpose. Her death has been designed, choreographed like a theatrical production, with every moment calculated to break not just her body. The parade through the city is just the opening act. Romans understood something terrifying about human psychology. They know exactly where to stop, how long to pause, which parts of her body to expose for maximum degradation. When the woman is brought into the center, the crowd doesn't see a person anymore. They see a performance, a spectacle they've paid to witness. And Rome has prepared something special for them today, because Roman executions of women weren't simple deaths. But these weren't symbolic representations. The animals were real, and they had been trained for this specific purpose. The systematic nature of it is what chills the blood. This wasn't chaos or madness. Architects consulted with torture specialists. Animal trainers worked alongside arena managers. Emperors themselves took personal interest in the choreography of suffering. Caligula would spend weeks planning individual executions, experimenting with techniques in private chambers beneath his palace before implementing them publicly. Nero went even further, dressing as a gladiator and personally participating in the violence while crowds cheered their emperor's performance. What's most revealing isn't the cruelty itself, but how thoroughly it had been normalized. Archaeological evidence from private Roman homes shows that citizens decorated their dining rooms with artwork depicting these execution scenes. They had made torture so ordinary that it became domestic decor. The brutality wasn't hidden or shameful. By the 4th century, not through imperial decree but through collective moral awakening, the spectacles finally ended. What does this reveal about us, about human nature, about the societies we build? Rome's legacy of institutionalized violence shows us that any civilization can normalize the unthinkable when it serves those in power. The Romans convinced themselves they were the pinnacle of human achievement while cheering for torture that would make us sick today. We consume content that humiliates others for entertainment without questioning what it says about us. She represents what happens when power is given free rein to dehumanize, when entertainment becomes inseparable from cruelty, when an entire society loses the ability to see suffering for what it is. Rome eventually found its conscience, but it took centuries and the transformation of an entire worldview. The question that should keep us awake at night is this: what are we normalizing today that future generations will look back on with the same horror we now feel toward Rome? What forms of cruelty have we wrapped in justification so comfortable that we could unsee them for what they are? Understanding Rome's darkness isn't about judging the past. And that might be the most terrifying lesson of all. I want to hear your thoughts. Where do you see echoes of this kind of systematic cruelty in our modern world? And more importantly, what can we do to make sure we don't walk the same path Rome did?